You may have heard the word ether or ether kicking around in certain New Age or metaphysical circles, but did you know it was once a cornerstone of mainstream science? And I'm talking about something much vaster and deeper than just space. Programs like the Apollo missions were predicated on this theory. There was even an Aether commission established by the US Congress to research it. So what the heck is the Aether, and why don't we learn about it anymore? Let's start with a brief history lesson. The word ether was first used by the ancient Greek philosophers, most notably Aristotle, who believed everything was composed of four elements: fire, water, earth, and air. However, he noted that there had to be a fifth element, something pure and unchanging, which he called ether, to fill the heavens above the terrestrial realm. Ether was literally translated from the Greek as upper, pure air, according to Aristotle. Fast forward to the 1800s, we find that scientists had settled on the idea that light was made of waves. Now we know that waves like sound need a medium to travel through. You can't hear anything if you're in a vacuum like outer space. So scientists figured light must need a medium too. Otherwise, how could it travel through the vacuum of space? They knew there was some sort of medium permeating all of space since it was impossible to hear sounds on the moon. Thus, the prevailing theory was that the entire universe was filled with a substance that would carry light waves, electricity, and even other forms of energy. This became known as the luminiferous ether, or simply the ether. In fact, physicists at the time believed there were two versions of ether. One was tied to electromagnetism, and another was needed for mechanics. This field of study was very popular at the time, and many prominent scientists were involved, including Michael Faraday, James Clerk Maxwell, and Albert A. Michelson. In 1887, Albert Michelson and Edward Morley performed an experiment to measure the speed of light in different directions to determine if the Earth's movement through the ether could be detected. If you can imagine a boat traveling through water, you might expect it to move faster with the current and slower against the current. Similarly, the Michelson-Morley experiment expected the speed of light to change depending on the direction it traveled relative to the Earth's movement through the supposed luminiferous ether. But they found no difference in the speed of light no matter the direction. This experiment would come to be known as the null result. For years, scientists were baffled by the null results. They began to hypothesize that maybe the ether was stationary and it was actually the Earth that was moving through it. Or maybe the ether was moving with the Earth, perhaps even carried along by some sort of cosmic wind. But in 1905, Einstein proposed that maybe light didn't need a medium at all. His special theory of relativity showed that the speed of light was constant and didn't require a field to move through. Around 1908, most textbooks dropped ether as a real physical substance. It's important to note here that the word ether wasn't completely erased from science. Scientists still used it in a more generalized sense to describe any sort of field that could transmit energy. But in education, this coincided with the early 20th century shift toward mechanistic materialism. The philosophy held that only measurable matter and the forces acting upon it were real. Concepts like energy, mind, consciousness, life, or anything vital or spiritual was excluded from public schooling as unscientific and outside the realm of inquiry. Some argue that this was done deliberately to remove a concept so big and nebulous as the ether, which describes the fundamental nature of reality itself, from the hands of the general populace. With the ether removed from school curricula, the stage was set for future discoveries and inventions. Without the baggage of the ether, scientists were able to investigate phenomena like quantum entanglement and virtual particles. And without the spiritual connotations that came with the ether, scientists were able to explore concepts like wave mechanics and superconductors unhindered. But the story doesn't end there. Some researchers today believe removing the ether also removed a unified understanding of energy, sound, and vibration from the public consciousness. It's tied to suppressed tech theories like free energy, anti-gravity, or weather manipulation, which require a field to transmit energy through space. This perspective claims the disappearance of the ether coincided with the demise of unified theories and the rise of reductionism. The idea that complex systems could be understood only by breaking them down into their smallest parts. What's more, the year 1908 is also interesting because it's when the Tunguska event happened in Siberia. Some speculate the event was caused by Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower experiments on wireless power transmission. Could the Aether have been real? Was it destroyed by Nikola Tesla accidentally? Let us know your thoughts.